The following program was recorded at the ARC Annual Industry Forum in Orlando, Florida. I'm pleased to welcome Editor-in-Chief of Supply Chain Brain, Russell Goodman.
Joining us for a conversation on the top trends in the pharmaceutical industry is Janice Abel, Principal Consultant with ARC Advisory Group. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you, Russell.
So let's get right to it. What are some of the trends that are taking place in the pharmaceutical industry?
Well, for one thing, the industry is growing, not at the same rate that it was growing a few years ago when it was doing double-digit growth. Today it's growing in sales at about 5.5%, and in automation it's growing at about 3.5%. And the industry will continue to grow, although there's a lot of factors now that have slowed the growth down, like patent expirations, fierce global competition from generics, and also a lot of uncertainty right now in the industry. But it will continue to grow because the population's growing. Currently we're at 6 billion people, and we're supposed to be at 8 billion by 2030.
You mentioned patent expirations. Do we expect there to be a lot of those? And if so, what is the industry doing to improve its portfolios?
There's a substantial number of patents that are going to be expiring over the next couple of years, particularly some of the blockbuster drugs. Two of the top-selling blockbuster drugs, Lipitor and Plavix, will be expiring in the next couple of years. So that's really impacting the industry in a way that they have to broaden their portfolios. As a result of that, they've been doing a lot of mergers, acquisitions, and even partnerships with the biotech companies. 2009
was obviously a year of great change for the pharmaceutical industry. Can you elaborate for us on some of those changes?
Well, some of the changes that took place was, of course, the mergers and acquisitions and the partnerships. I mean, that's always been going on. But this year there was some major purchases. Pfizer purchased Wyeth, for example, and Roche purchased Genentech. So a lot of the capital was limited. So they didn't make as bigger capital purchases because of this limiting factor. Some of the other things that happened was the industry itself is undergoing a revolution in terms of implementing new technologies to make themselves more competitive in the industry.
Manufacturing and other challenges? Are there?
There's a lot of challenges in manufacturing right now because this industry is way behind other industries. Other industries are operating at much higher capacities than the pharmaceutical industry, which operates at around 30%. Not all, but some manufacturers are not operating at the capacity they could be operating. And as a result, there's been a lot of downsizing, there's been consolidation in the industry, and this is going to continue. And a lot of these mergers were to broaden these portfolios because they didn't have some of the science-based drugs in their portfolio coming along to replace some of these blockbuster drugs.
Anytime the kind of change that we're speaking about takes place, there's always accent on bringing efficiencies into the industry. What is the pharmaceutical industry doing to bring efficiency?
Well, one of the things that you're seeing a lot of in terms of improving efficiencies is, and they're doing this to reduce their costs and improve their margins, and you see a lot of lean initiatives being initiated today because they're trying to do more things around operational excellence, and they're adding technologies to do that. Additionally, the industry is doing things around technology collaboration so that they've actually compressed the enterprise with the process industry, with the business part of the business, so that they can actually look at measurements and see what they're doing, and essentially so that the right person gets the right information at the right time. And a lot of manufacturers and suppliers are working on this issue to give dashboards to people so that they can actually see the information that they're supposed to see, and they can look at the measures, because without the measures you can't understand how you're doing, and without measures you're not going to get any better. And also you can't compare the standards, and that's also important. They need to compare standards across plants as well as across to the industry, crosswise. So
I understand, though, that the industry is somewhat behind in terms of efficiencies. Now, what's the reason for that?
Well, one of the reasons is because of the regulations. Now, the industry always has had high quality. That's never been an issue in pharma. And part of that issue is because they've been driven by regulations, and the regulations are very procedural. So in that part, they've been limited in the technologies that they use, and once they were validated to regulations, they didn't want to make changes to the process. And the fact is the processes do change. Raw materials change, the environment changes, so they really need to be able to implement advanced technologies and controls in order to make their processes more efficient like other industries.
I understand that the Food and Drug Administration has something called the risk-based approach. What is that, and how can manufacturers take advantage of it?
Well, the risk-based approach that the FDA has mandated is actually an enabler for a lot of companies. And that's why you've seen a lot of these lean initiatives that we've seen. And the reason for that is because companies want to become more efficient, and they felt that the regulations were limiting them. And what this allows them to do is actually to take the process and make changes to the process. Nowadays, they can change set points. They can use advanced technologies to do that.
If you had to bet on the technologies that companies might use in 2010 to improve their operations, their supply chains, what would those technologies be?
Well, I would say collaborative technologies where they have better interoperability and integration to the processes, from the business side as well as to the process side. So they eliminate a lot of the silos of information. One of the things that one plant manager said to me, he said, "We get all this information and data, but we don't know what to do with it," which obviously they don't have the tools and the application tools, which is another part of the technologies that people are implementing, is application tools, so that they can measure what they're doing better and information gets to the right person. And then, of course, there's issues around the supply chain and anti-counterfeiting.
Any final thoughts for the viewers, Janice?
Well, manufacturers need to continue to implement technologies, but these technologies have to show value, business value. And they also have to be intuitive and easy to use. That's very important.
Well, Janice, this has been an interesting conversation today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Janice Abel, ARC Advisory Group, speaking with us today about trends in the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you for watching.